What's up guys, Al here from AM Training. So I've asked you before what should I do after Sheiko 29 and after Sheiko 37. So I've did those two programs before. I was almost tempted to run Smolov Junior or just a regular Smolov, but I couldn't afford adding an extra day to my training week. So I decided to go with Sheiko 30, which is usually the third installment of once you run the 29 and 37. So in Sheiko 30, it requires me to bench, squat, bench, and then squat again, which is a lot of compound movements all in one workout here. And in this particular bench press set, it felt like my left side was weaker. And I knew I was addressing the issue before where one side would drop down lower. I know this time it wasn't my fault because there was actually probably a 10-pound plate, and I was right. You can see here, I show the camera, a 10-pounder, so it was uneven. I had 5 more pounds on my left side, but you know, it happens. So moving on to the third set, this time it's the right weight. Of course, my friend that I'm training with feels horrible that he did that. That's not his first time he'd done that to me, but you know, no worries. If anything, that's gonna help out my imbalance since my left side is weaker. So at first I was benching with a pause at the bottom because this requires me to do 5 sets of 5 sets of 3 actually. And in the beginning I was doing a little pause. As I get tired, I was actually almost doing a touch and go, and I also lose the beanie. It was getting hot in there. Last set of the bench, of the first session of the bench, and by now I'm pretty fried. I feel kind of fried, and I remember telling myself right here that I just need to keep going because then there are squats. So you know you're kind of tired when you're looking forward to squats. So this is my first work set of the squat. Can't remember how much I was squatting here. It had to be about 335, I think. Yep, 335. Felt heavy at first. I was trying to do it without the belt. In my earlier session earlier that week, I actually kind of tweaked my back. I didn't post that workout yet just because I'm kind of falling behind, and I kind of want to have all of my workouts in real time, at least 1 or 2. Second set with a 335, and since it requires me to do 5 sets of 3, I felt pretty dependent on the belt at this point, just because like I said, my back was fried. I feel like I tweaked it somehow. So I've been doing a lot of stretches and also hanging from a pull-up bar a lot, just to kind of decompress all my vertebrae or my spine, and that usually is my go-to. So we got here the depth cam view. As you can see, everything is still legit. This is still 335 pounds, and you know, nothing special. You guys are familiar with my depth cam. So now we are having a little back view here. I just want to get all the angles, so if you guys see any you know, imbalances or weaknesses that I could address or you know, critique my form, let me know. A lot of people's complaint about my form here is that my knees kind of cave in, but you gotta remember again guys, that my knees are a little knock-kneed. They're a little crooked. You know how people are bow-legged? I'm exact opposite. My knees kind of you know, cave in, and that's why they call them knock knees. Valgus is because they pretty much knock together when I walk. And unfortunately, there was an article I read before, can't remember who wrote it or whatnot, but basically it says that people that are knock-kneed compared to bow-legged people tend to be more athletic. So I'm kind of at a loss right there. Also, you know, gotta love them genetics. Also, you know, it's gonna predispose me to more of a knee injury just because my knees cave in and I can't really utilize my glutes as much as I want to. So moving on to the squat here, the 4th set. I know with this one is a particular one. I actually had only a minute rest. I was trying to rush it. First rep is good. Second squat, you can see here, I just misgrooved. It wasn't that I was tired. I just wasn't concentrating. So I feel like I've been doing that lately, at least more than I usually do. So I try not to fail with any of the big compound movements, just because if you start to fail, you almost develop a pattern of if you keep failing and failing, and it goes over and over again. And it's a bad habit to make, especially if you want to be a lifter, if you want to be a competitive lifter. I feel like, you know, you're ingraining bad pattern or movement patterns in your head, especially when you fail, and it tells your body that it's okay to fail. I can't remember if Jim Wendler said this or someone else. I want to say you know, Charles Poliquin. I quote him a lot, so it might be one of those two. So now, moving on to the second part of the benching part of the workout. This one requires me to do 5 times 5 of 205, which is going to be a lighter weight. Like I said before, I'm starting to get burnt out, so it's almost a touch and go. So I'm not going to go ahead and show you the other 4 sets, just because it's almost the same thing. And same thing with the squats. This time it's 3 times 15, but I have to do 3 sets of 5 reps. And you know, before I couldn't do this before, where 315 felt like a lot. Like, it felt like, you know, if I do 3 reps of it, I probably couldn't do that again for another three sets. So Sheiko has definitely been helping me out, feel more confident with more volume, and I feel like I'm, you know, stronger in the hole just because of all the frequent times I squat. Thanks again for watching. Train hard, train smart, guys.